Olivia had always believed in fairy tales, but she never thought she'd be living in one, or rather, in one that was slowly crumbling. A successful marketing executive in her early 30s, she had everything society said a woman should want: a loving husband, a cozy home, and a life that looked perfect on Instagram. Her husband, Marcus, was charming, ambitious, and handsome, a man who could light up any room he entered. Together, they seemed unstoppable. Their friends envied their relationship. Social media overflowed with carefully curated snapshots, dinners by candlelight, weekend getaways to the coast, and joyous celebrations of birthdays, promotions, and anniversaries. Olivia loved Marcus, truly, and for years she had trusted him with every part of her heart. But recently, things had started to feel different. Marcus was distracted, distant. Late nights at work became more frequent, and subtle changes in his tone and behavior made Olivia uneasy. She tried to brush it off, telling herself she was overthinking. After all, she loved him and she trusted him. Then, one ordinary Wednesday evening, everything changed. Olivia returned home from a long day at the office, expecting the usual warmth of their home. Instead, she found Marcus sitting in the living room, his expression tense, avoiding eye contact. "Olivia, I need to tell you something," he said, his voice shaking slightly. "I've been sleeping with your best friend." The words hit her like a physical blow. Her chest tightened, her stomach dropped, and the world around her seemed to blur. The betrayal was unimaginable. How could the man she loved, the man she had built her life with, do this? And how could her best friend, someone she trusted more than anyone, betray her in the worst possible way? But Olivia didn't cry, she didn't scream. Instead, she sat down, her mind working frantically. Pain and anger surged, but she realized something crucial. This moment didn't have to define her. She wouldn't give Marcus the satisfaction of seeing her break. She wouldn't let betrayal control her life. Instead, she made a silent vow. She would confront this situation with strength, intelligence, and control. She would gather the evidence, expose the truth, and reclaim her power, not just over Marcus, but over her own life. She understood that how she responded now would set the stage for everything that followed. Olivia's heartbreak was only the beginning. What Marcus thought would destroy her would, in fact, be the catalyst for a transformation he would never see coming. If you want to see how Olivia turns this betrayal into her ultimate triumph, like, share, and subscribe to my channel for the next twist. Olivia couldn't sleep that night. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing faster than her heartbeat. The words Marcus had spoken were still echoing in her ears. "I've been sleeping with your best friend." The betrayal cut deep, sharper than any pain she had ever felt. But beneath the shock, a fire began to burn, a determination to take control of a situation that could have easily destroyed her. She knew something Marcus didn't. She was stronger than he could ever imagine. While he expected tears and pleading, Olivia remained silent, letting her emotions settle before she acted. She realized that revenge wouldn't come from anger alone. It had to be precise, calculated, and undeniable. The very next morning, Olivia started putting her plan into motion. She began quietly documenting everything: text messages, emails, and social media interactions that revealed the affair. Every suspicious meeting, every lie, every betrayal was carefully recorded. Her phone and laptop became tools of empowerment, not just evidence. She wasn't gathering ammunition for revenge, she was building a shield for her future. Meanwhile, Olivia started reclaiming pieces of her life that had been neglected. She returned to her favorite yoga classes, caught up with friends she had distanced herself from, and threw herself into her work with renewed energy. The same woman Marcus thought he could break was flourishing without him even noticing. Her confidence radiated, subtle yet undeniable, as she moved through her days with grace and purpose. Marcus, on the other hand, remained oblivious. He carried on as though nothing had happened, assuming that Olivia's quiet demeanor meant she was too hurt to act. But Olivia had already planned her next move carefully. She smiled when he expected tears, she laughed when he thought she would be angry, and most importantly, she began planting seeds of doubt in his mind. A casual comment here, a knowing glance there, Marcus could sense her awareness, but couldn't pinpoint the extent. Olivia's calm presence unnerved him in ways she didn't even need to verbalize. She didn't have to confront him yet. She was preparing him for the storm that would inevitably come. By the end of the week, Olivia had collected everything she needed. Not only did she have proof, but she also had regained the strength, clarity, and focus that Marcus had tried to erode. She realized that betrayal doesn't have to destroy someone, it can awaken a power they never knew they had. Olivia's plan was no longer just about exposing Marcus, it was about reclaiming her life, her dignity, and her happiness. And when the time came, Marcus would realize that the woman he thought he could break was now the very person holding all the control. Don't miss what Olivia does next. It will leave you stunned. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to watch and see her take the next step. Olivia had waited patiently, letting Marcus believe he was still in control, but she knew the time for subtlety was over. The evidence she had collected over the past week, texts, secret emails, and screenshots, was irrefutable. Tonight, she would confront him. She invited Marcus to dinner at their apartment. The table was elegantly set, flickering candles, soft music in the background, and a bottle of wine waiting to be poured. Marcus arrived, wearing his usual confident smile, completely unaware that the night would change everything. He expected routine conversation, maybe a few questions about his long week at work. What he didn't expect was Olivia's calculated calmness. Once they were seated, Olivia spoke softly, but every word was deliberate. "Marcus," she began, her eyes locked on his, "we need to talk about us, about your choices." She didn't shout, she didn't cry. Instead, she let the weight of her gaze do the work. Marcus laughed nervously, trying to dismiss the tension. "Olivia, what are you talking about?" Olivia slid her phone across the table. Screenshots of text messages with his affair, timestamps and locations, everything Marcus had hoped to hide glared back at him. She also printed copies of social media activity and receipts that confirmed meetings he had lied about. The evidence left no room for excuses. Marcus's confident demeanor faltered. He tried to explain, to minimize, to manipulate, but Olivia didn't waver. She leaned forward, her voice steady and clear. "You thought I wouldn't find out. You thought I would cry and beg. But Marcus, I am not someone you can break." For the first time, fear flickered in Marcus's eyes. The man who had betrayed her, who had flaunted his power over her trust, now realized he was no longer in control. Olivia's calm composure and meticulously gathered proof shifted the dynamic completely. She had transformed from the betrayed wife into the person holding all the power. But Olivia didn't just confront him to humiliate him, she confronted him to reclaim herself. Every word, every look, every piece of evidence symbolized her strength and resilience. Marcus, who had once held the upper hand, could only sit in stunned silence, understanding that his betrayal had awakened something unstoppable in Olivia. She reached for the envelope she had prepared earlier. Inside were copies of all the evidence, ready to be used in court if necessary. Handing it to him, she said, "I don't need revenge tonight, but know this, Marcus, your choices have consequences, and I am in charge of mine." The confrontation ended with Olivia standing tall, her dignity intact, and Marcus left speechless. The game had changed, and from that moment on, Olivia would dictate the terms of her life, not him. You won't believe what Olivia does next to take full control. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to see and watch her rise even stronger. After the confrontation, Olivia felt a strange sense of liberation. The shock in Marcus's eyes during dinner was a sweet reminder that the power had shifted. But she knew this was just the beginning. She didn't just want to expose him, she wanted to take full control of the life that Marcus had tried to manipulate and humiliate. Over the next few days, Olivia moved strategically. She contacted her lawyer, not out of immediate revenge, but to understand her options and secure her future. Every decision she made was calculated, precise, and deliberate. She wasn't reacting from emotion, she was acting from strength. Meanwhile, Marcus tried to act normal, hoping Olivia would eventually forgive him and pretend nothing had happened. But Olivia played along, perfectly composed. She smiled when he expected anger, she laughed when he expected tears, and she went about her life with confidence that radiated from every action. Every time Marcus looked at her, he was reminded of the unstoppable woman he had underestimated. Olivia also began reconnecting with her own goals. She resumed a few professional projects she had put on hold and rejoined social groups and events she had abandoned for Marcus. Her life was not just moving forward, it was flourishing without his influence. Olivia's independence became her secret weapon, and Marcus couldn't help but notice the change. But the most powerful move came when Olivia subtly revealed to her social circle and mutual friends that she was aware of Marcus's betrayal. She didn't publicize the affair, she simply let people know that Marcus's actions had consequences, and that Olivia was strong, aware, and unshakable. The whispers and curious glances around her reinforced the fact that she was no longer a victim. She had taken control of her narrative, and Marcus was now facing the consequences of his arrogance. One evening, Olivia called Marcus to a private meeting. She didn't yell, she didn't cry, she simply laid down her conditions: respect, honesty, and accountability. She made it clear that she would not tolerate deception, manipulation, or disrespect. Marcus realized he had lost his grip. The charming, manipulative man who thought he could control Olivia was now at her mercy. Olivia had transformed the power dynamic completely. What Marcus thought would destroy her instead became the catalyst for her empowerment. She had risen above betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak, turning her pain into strategic action. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving, and Marcus was left powerless in the wake of her strength. The stage was set for Olivia's ultimate triumph, and Marcus had no idea what was coming next. You won't believe the move Olivia makes next to completely crush Marcus's lies. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to watch and see the full fallout. Olivia had regained her power, but she wasn't done yet. Marcus thought that once their private confrontation ended, life would return to some semblance of normal. He couldn't have been more wrong. Olivia was determined not just to survive his betrayal, but to expose the consequences of his actions without losing her dignity in the process. She began quietly informing her closest friends and family about the affair, not in a dramatic, gossip-driven way, but with precision and calm honesty. People were shocked. Marcus had carefully curated a charming public persona, and Olivia's revelations shattered it. The man who once seemed untouchable in their social circle now faced judgment and scrutiny. His lies had caught up to him, and Olivia didn't even have to lift a finger to make it happen. At the same time, Olivia's professional life flourished. She poured her energy into work and networking, attending events Marcus had once scoffed at. Invitations came pouring in. New opportunities presented themselves. Every success was a reminder that Marcus's betrayal couldn't stop her, and in fact, it had fueled her drive. Olivia's confidence became magnetic. People admired her resilience, her composure, and her intelligence. Marcus, however, struggled to cope. He attempted to charm his way out, apologizing and promising to make things right. But Olivia wasn't listening. She had learned a crucial lesson. Words mean nothing without action. She watched him falter in front of mutual friends, saw his reputation crumble piece by piece, and quietly smiled. For the first time, he was powerless, his ego bruised, his secrets exposed, and his charm ineffective. Olivia also began setting boundaries with Marcus. She made it clear that their interactions would be strictly structured, no longer emotional or vulnerable. Every attempt Marcus made to manipulate her, gaslight her, or win her back was met with calm, firm resistance. Olivia had transformed the pain of betrayal into unshakable strength, and Marcus felt it every single day. The best part? Olivia didn't need revenge in the traditional sense. She didn't yell, plot, or humiliate him publicly. Instead, she allowed her life to speak for itself. Every success, every smile, every confident step she took was a reminder of the power Marcus had lost. He had tried to destroy her, but in reality, he had set the stage for her ultimate rise. By the end of the week, Marcus was a shadow of the man he had once been. Friends avoided him, colleagues noticed his nervousness, and everywhere he turned, he was reminded of the consequences of his betrayal. Meanwhile, Olivia was thriving, stronger, more respected, and more in control than ever before. Her journey was far from over, but one thing was clear. Olivia had turned heartbreak into power, and Marcus had no idea how much he had underestimated her. Reveal Olivia's ultimate move, one that leaves Marcus completely powerless. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to watch and see how she takes full control. Olivia had rebuilt her life, reclaimed her confidence, and exposed Marcus's lies. But she knew that if she truly wanted to regain complete control, she had to make one final, undeniable move. This wasn't about revenge fueled by anger. It was about strategic empowerment, ensuring Marcus understood that betrayal has real consequences. She started by carefully planning a public reveal, not a scandalous, messy confrontation, but a demonstration of her strength that Marcus couldn't ignore. Olivia reached out to mutual friends, professional contacts, and even their close social circle with subtle hints that she had uncovered the full extent of Marcus's deception. She never exaggerated, she never lied, she let the truth speak for itself. Meanwhile, Marcus began to sense the shift. People started noticing the way he floundered in conversations, the nervous glances when Olivia entered a room, and the subtle coldness of friends who once supported him blindly. He tried to charm his way back into Olivia's life, hoping that smiles, apologies, and empty promises could undo the damage, but Olivia remained unshaken. She had learned that real power comes from composure and clarity, not chaos and emotion. Then came the decisive moment. Olivia hosted a small gathering under the guise of a friendly dinner. Marcus arrived, confident as ever, unaware of what was about to unfold. Olivia remained poised, welcoming everyone warmly. As conversations flowed, she subtly guided the topic toward integrity, loyalty, and personal accountability, carefully highlighting the qualities she valued and, by contrast, what happens when trust is broken. Marcus's discomfort was palpable. Every word Olivia spoke felt like a mirror reflecting his betrayal back at him. He tried to interrupt, to redirect the conversation, but Olivia's presence was magnetic and commanding. Everyone was captivated by her strength and composure, and Marcus realized, too late, that he had lost control over the narrative completely. Later that night, Olivia approached him privately. She wasn't angry, she wasn't pleading, she was resolute. "Marcus," she said softly, "this isn't about punishing you. It's about reclaiming my life, my dignity, and my happiness. I've proven to myself and everyone else that I'm stronger than your betrayal." Marcus had no words. For the first time, the man who had once manipulated, lied, and controlled felt powerless. Olivia had turned the situation completely around. Her pain had become her power, and her composure had become her weapon. By the end of the evening, it was clear. Olivia was not only surviving, she was thriving. Marcus's attempts to regain influence over her life had failed, and the truth had cemented her position as the unshakable force in their relationship. Olivia had transformed heartbreak into strategy, betrayal into empowerment, and weakness into undeniable strength. Her journey was far from easy, but the lesson was clear. Never underestimate a woman who refuses to be broken. You won't believe how Olivia finally closes the chapter on Marcus and walks away victorious. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to watch and see her ultimate triumph. Olivia had rebuilt herself from the pain Marcus had caused, and she had taken control over the situation with intelligence and poise. But she wasn't done. There was one final step she needed to take to fully close the chapter on Marcus and ensure he understood the consequences of his betrayal. She planned her next move carefully. This time, it wouldn't just be a private confrontation or subtle social maneuvering. It would be a decisive public demonstration of her strength and independence. Olivia understood one key truth. Marcus had underestimated her from the start, and it was time to show him exactly what he had lost. She started by documenting everything comprehensively, proof of his affair, his lies, and his attempts to manipulate her after the truth came out. But unlike before, she didn't just save these documents for herself. She strategically shared them with people who mattered in their social and professional circles. Olivia didn't gloat or attack. She simply presented the facts. Her calm, confident approach made the betrayal undeniable, leaving no room for excuses or manipulation. Marcus, of course, sensed the storm. He tried to charm his way back into Olivia's favor, offering empty apologies and promises that he would change. But Olivia wasn't swayed. She had learned that true power lies in action, not words. His attempts to regain control only emphasized how far he had fallen in the eyes of others. Then came the final confrontation. Olivia invited Marcus to their home one last time, not for reconciliation, but for closure. She handed him the envelope that contained everything: proof of his betrayal, a summary of his lies, and a personal letter explaining her decisions. She didn't yell, cry, or threaten. Instead, she stood tall, serene, and unshakable, the very image of someone who had transformed pain into empowerment. "Marcus," she said, her voice steady, "this is the end of this chapter. I've reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my future. There is nothing left for you to control here." For the first time, Marcus didn't argue. He didn't try to manipulate or excuse himself. He saw clearly that he had lost, not just Olivia, but his credibility, his respect, and his standing with those around him. The betrayal that once gave him power had now left him powerless. Olivia watched him leave, a sense of liberation washing over her. She had not only survived one of life's most devastating betrayals, but she had emerged stronger, wiser, and more in control than ever before. The pain Marcus caused had been transformed into a tool for empowerment, and Olivia had proven something undeniable. A woman who refuses to be broken cannot be stopped. Her journey wasn't just about revenge, it was about reclaiming her life, setting boundaries, and showing that betrayal is no match for resilience and intelligence. You won't believe what Olivia does in the final part to fully triumph over Marcus. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to watch and see her ultimate victory. The final chapter of Olivia's journey wasn't about confrontation. It was about complete liberation and triumph. After weeks of carefully navigating betrayal, gathering evidence, and exposing Marcus, she had reached a point where she no longer needed to prove anything to him or anyone else. The power she had reclaimed was hers alone, and it radiated from every action she took. Olivia spent the morning reflecting on her journey. She realized that Marcus's betrayal, painful as it had forced her to rediscover her strength, independence, and self-worth. Every tear she had shed, every sleepless night, and every pang of heartbreak had transformed into determination. She had turned the tables with grace, dignity, and precision. That afternoon, Olivia organized a small gathering of friends and colleagues, not for drama, not for revenge, but to celebrate herself. It was a quiet, intimate event filled with laughter, support, and empowerment. As people admired her confidence and poise, Marcus couldn't help but attend, hoping to sway her one last time. But Olivia's presence was magnetic. She was untouchable, unshakable, and completely in control. Throughout the gathering, Olivia remained composed, engaging with friends, sharing her experiences in a way that was inspiring rather than bitter. Marcus tried to insert himself into conversations, to charm and explain, but everyone could see the contrast clearly. He was defensive, nervous, and increasingly irrelevant. Olivia's strength and composure outshone him entirely, proving that true power isn't in manipulation, it's in resilience and self-respect. After the event, Olivia had a private moment with Marcus. She didn't need to fight, yell, or seek revenge. She simply said, "This is your final chance. I've reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my happiness. I hope you learn from your mistakes, but I no longer need you in my story." Marcus left, defeated and humbled, realizing that the woman he had tried to break was now an unstoppable force. Olivia didn't just survive betrayal, she transformed it into her greatest triumph. She had regained control over her life, her narrative, and her future. In the weeks that followed, Olivia flourished even more. She pursued new opportunities, formed stronger friendships, and embraced her independence with pride. Her story became a testament to strength, courage, and resilience. Every success, every smile, every confident step was a reminder that betrayal does not define you, your response does. Olivia had turned heartbreak into empowerment. Marcus's lies had only fueled her rise. She had proven that no one could break a woman who refused to be broken, and in doing so, she had written the ultimate victory story. If you were inspired by Olivia's journey and her incredible strength, like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more powerful stories of courage and triumph.